Okay, here we are on Manager 1, and thanks to my build scripts and the likes, it's already got the Docker engine installed and up and running. Yeah. We've also got an empty config file. Now, this is an Ubuntu 14.04 host. In fact, they all are in the environment I've got built. So, if you're following along and you're using a different distro, then your Docker config file might be somewhere else. But all I'm trying to say here is this is a clean Docker host. So, no containers or images locally. Right. Okay, so first order of business from our action plan is to get a discovery service up and operational. And we're rolling with console here. So, let me grab this ridiculously long command from here in the course notes file. Yeah, honestly, look at it. It's madness. No way I'm trying to type that out with you all watching. Anyway, it's a docker run command. We want to make sure that if the container fails, Docker's going to try and restart it. I want it to be called console1. It's going to mount a volume in for some persistence. And we're mapping, yeah, an absolute shed load of ports. Now, these are all console ports, right? HTTP access, gossip protocol, all of that jazz. Though this one here is the Docker 0 bridge. But then the important stuff here, well, that's important too, obviously. But we're using the Program console image, and thanks to Jeff Lindsay and DigitalOcean for putting this image together, though you can of course use other console-based images or even just install console via the binary and not have it containerized. But I digress. We're going to run console in server mode, use Manager 1's private IP, and then the bootstrap expect flag here. This is telling console to expect 3 more nodes running in server mode. Then, once those 3 appear, the console cluster is going to form. Now, the console lingo for this is a raft quorum, and I'm actually going to use that term from now on, because when I use the term cluster, I want it to be crystal clear that I'm talking about a swarm cluster. So, yeah, we're building a console cluster for our discovery service, but we're going to be calling it a raft quorum, which actually sounds pretty cool, I think. Anyway, off it goes. Right, how quick was that for such a long command, eh? But let's check it. Okay, that output's pretty messed up, too many ports mapped, but we can see it's running. Let's switch over to Manager 2. We'll grab the command for this node. Well, pretty much the same, just customized for Manager 2 here. Oh, and all these IPs yet, these are all Manager 2's private IP. But then importantly, we're using the join flag this time, so not the bootstrap expect. And then we give it Manager 1's IP. What this is doing is it's telling this console server to join the existing raft quorum that we started building in the last step on Manager 1. Okay, give that a check as well. Great, up and running. And surprise, surprise, the same for Manager 3. Okay, looks good, but I always like to check. And yep, that's us in business. Well, the discovery service at least. So, we've got 3 discovery service containers formed into a highly available raft quorum. Each member of the quorum on a separate VM, and then each VM in a separate failure domain. Meaning, we can roll with pretty much most of the punches we'd expect in a real-world production environment. But before we formally sign off this step in our action plan, let's just do this. And we can do it from any of the managers, right? But if we get ourselves a shell inside of the console container here, and a quick console members, right, there's our 3 nodes. The most important column probably being this one here, status, showing all of our nodes as alive. But you know what? A quick overview on console's probably needed here. I mean, look, no offense to console, it's great. It's just kind of, well, not swarm core, which I want to focus on. Anyway though, all 3 console agents we've built so far are server agents, and we formed them into a raft quorum. Now, we're going to fire up some console agents as clients in a minute or so it's worth knowing that the server agents we've built so far, these participate fully in the raft quorum, and they're the ones that actually act on queries and the likes that come in. So that's the type column here, server. Clients, on the other hand, They don't participate in the Raft quorum, and they don't respond to requests that come in. Well, they forward them on to server agents, which do. Anyway, between these three servers, they elect a leader, and between them, they maintain the state, or they will soon, of our swarm cluster. And they chat and exchange information like changes in membership, failures, leader changes, all that stuff, yeah, using the surf gossip protocol on some of these ports here. These ones. But really, don't sweat over that detail. I'll run through some of it later again, okay? But it's all console stuff and not core swarm. And I don't know, I'd even put like a wild punt out there that at some point, Swarm might even not need us to do any of this discovery back-end handcrafting, right? Just because it's a bit of a pain. And if I know one thing about the folks at Docker, it's that they're all like hell-bent on giving us this smooth, effortless Docker experience, which this part kind of isn't at the moment, no? But look, that's totally apocryphal and it's utterly the future according to Nigel's crystal ball, so it's probably a load of tosh. But the point is, this stuff we've been doing is console specific and not really core swarm. But you know what? There we are. After all of that, that is item number 1 in our action plan completed and signed off. Next job, build our swarm managers.